Welcome everybody. I'll wait for some people to come into the room. Welcome everyone. How's everybody doing? Wait for some more people. Hey Truth Seeker. Welcome everyone. Yeah, I know I'm going to make some of you modern women out there mad. Hey Carlotta. Hey Female Treasures World. Hey Miss Desire. What up? Okay, so I have enough people to get started. Um, the reason why I decided to do this video today is because since being on my journey, and especially since being in Hawaii, I have, thank you, Sharon Mills Rogers, I have been under attack from a few people. And a lot of people, I would say, most people would call it mom shaming. I've been really getting mom shamed. If y'all ever heard that saying. And usually I don't really address when people are saying negative things because people are always saying negative things, or I got their opinion that doesn't adhere to how I want to live my life. Uh, but today it really uh, struck home to me, and I felt like it's something that I needed to talk about because it's had nothing to do with me per se. This is something I'm sure a lot of people in my position, a lot of mothers, and even men in my position that agree that this is something that needs to be talked about, and the minds need to be opened to really know what's truly going on. So I wanted to talk about why moms, their places in the home. And the other day, or I say this morning, I woke up to a message from a female, and she was telling me that I needed to go get a job, and and I'm at a certain age, and I need to go to work. And I'm thinking to myself, well, who's going to take care of the baby? Because you tell my husband he needs to go and get a job, and now you're telling me that I need to go get a job. Who's going to take care of the child? And this is a situation, this is a topic that is really important to talk about, that a lot of us are not paying attention, because we're always talking about the higher powers that be. We're always talking about people are trying to get us, and the government and conspiracies. They're trying to attack us, but where they attack us the most is in our homes. And how they get to us first is through the children, because of that mindset that a lot of women think that their role is to be out in the workforce working just like the man, and then the man, he's working, but then who's taking care of the children? Oh, we put them in daycare. And I was talking about this yesterday in my Instagram live. I don't know how we got on the topic. Oh, we were talking about homeschooling, and I was just like, yeah, I'm going to take care and teach Zen myself. So I wanted to give you a little history about me, as far as like my work situation, about this, just a part about it, that so much about me, but just a part of the work situation and why I choose to do what I'm doing. Since I was 17 years old, I've always had a job. Peace, Advance Bernardin, I think that's how you pronounce it. Um, I've always had a job. I was 17 years old. I started working as a waitress and as a hostess in the summer times at a restaurant. And I had that job until I went to college. And then I went to college, and I knew when I went to college, I knew as a young girl I wanted to get married, and I wanted to have children, and I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. But I was told, through certain people in my family, that you need to strive for more. You need to do more. That you need to leave West Virginia, and you need to go out and discover the world, and you don't want to just be a stay-at-home mom. So I listened. I was like, okay, well, let me go out here in the world and let me figure myself out, because I was raised in a household that had the mother and father. Now, it was my grandparents, but my mother my mother adoption to my grandparents, and my father at this grandmother was there every day, and my grandfather was there almost every day. He was out working and doing different things. Even though he was retired, he still held jobs, and he was a minister, and he was always the provider in some shape or form. But I always remembered that I had my grandmother or my grandfather there. I was never at home by myself. And I like that. I like coming home and knowing somebody was going to be there and take care of me. I always appreciated that, and I told my grandmother that. So, and I think that's the reason why I wanted to be that, because I respected her so much, and she took care of me and the family so much. I wanted to be that type of woman. So when I was told just through different women in my family, like, you need to go off and want more for yourself, go and get a job or something, go to college. And so I did. I went to college, and through college I also worked. I had to work studies, and I went to 4 year college. I had a job the whole time. Like, I've never not had a job. I've always worked to get whatever I needed, because when I left, I wanted to be independent. I wanted to take care of myself. I wanted to know how that felt to be an independent. My grandparents always wanted to help me, but I was like, no, I want to know how it feels to take care of myself in the way that I could as I was in college. And so I got my degree, and I graduated, and I left West Virginia, and then I got a job, like you, of course. And I went to Myrtle Beach. The first place I was Myrtle Beach, and I got a job because I had a cousin there, and she was going to college there, and she said I could come and live with her. So I did. I went there, and at that time you could still go out to different places, handing your resume out, and that's exactly what I did. I had my resume out, and I got a job, and I worked there for 2 years. And while I was in Myrtle Beach, I had 3 jobs at one point. Like, I was working my ass off. Like, I've always worked. And the thing is, the reason why I always worked, because it was just me. Hey, Ashley, it was just me, and I understood the importance of hard work. In order for you to get what you want, you have to work hard. And so I told myself I want to work as hard as I can. I want to enjoy my life as much as I can until I get married and start having children, because I know it's not going to be just about me anymore. Hey, Ultraviolet Wisdom. And so that's why I always worked. And so then I left and moved to Virginia, and I also was there for about 6 years. And then I moved to Atlanta, and I was there for 5 years. And then I went to Costa Rica, and the rest is history. Like, I'm not gonna give you my whole work stamp. Point of the reason why I was telling you this is because in the beginning of my life, hey, Sugary Spice, I worked. Like, I worked my ass off. I worked. I traveled. I just hit the reconnect button, but I don't. Are y'all? Can y'all hear me? Press one if you can hear me. Am I back on? Hmm. Hmm. I hit the reconnect button. Oh, I'm losing people now. Oh well. Hmm. Okay. Hey, press one if y'all can hear me, because I don't know if there's people in the room. But you said you can hear me. Okay. Shut up, Rambo. Back. So the connection went out. I don't even know where I had left off. Okay, great, awesome. So the reason why I told you the story, because beginning of my life, I worked. I worked my ass off. I enjoyed my life. I did whatever it is that I wanted to do. But I knew that once I started having children, things were going to be different for me, because a true role is management. So I did a lot of front desk work, like the I also did medical billing and coding. Oh, it's buffering. Oh, okay. Somebody said it was buffering. Um, okay. And my degree was in. I guess they can hear me. I guess I was buffering for that one person. and my degree was in healthcare management. Okay, all right, good. In healthcare management, and so I did medical billing, medical coding. I did everything, billing administration in the medical field. Like I wasn't a nurse or anything. So I knew that. Oh, thank you, Addie Frost. I knew that once I started having children, that my life was going to change because I knew my true purpose as a woman was once I started having children. Okay, that and this is just for me. And I know everybody got their own opinion, but this is what Serenity believes in, and so be it. Okay, so I knew that once I had children and got married or was in a relationship, my purpose was going to be directed to that because as a single woman, I could focus on myself. I could do me, do whatever I want, go wherever I want. I don't have nobody ain't dependent on me. It's just me. And so when that child comes, I know that it was going to be different. And then I also expected to be in a relationship. Yes, I do, Lisa. And so I knew that once I had a child that I was going to get out of the work industry. I knew I was not going to work anymore. And that's the reason why I worked my ass off. That's why I did whatever I wanted to do, because I knew eventually when I had a child I was going to quit my job. Even if I was doing this or not, I knew I was going to quit my job. And I needed to be in a position to where I could do that. No, I did not have a child before Zen. I did not have a child before. No, I didn't have a full-term child before Zen. He's my first baby. And so, hey everybody coming to the room. And so once I had Zen, you see that things did also change for me too. But the reason for that, the reason why I believe that once I had a child that I no longer could work anymore, it was because my full responsibility and my job was my child. And also if I was in a relationship, my responsibility and my purpose was to my husband. You know, as a woman, we are the caregivers, we are the caretakers, we are the nurturers, we are the mothers. You know, that's what it is that we do. And it's going to be a little challenging for you to be a full-time mom and a full-time wife when you also have to go to work and be full-time for someone else, giving all your energy to someone else. And then you gotta come home, and then you're expected to be giving your energy to your husband and to your child. And so you're only one person, and then you gotta take care of yourself. And I'm not saying that it can't be done, because it's being done. I'm just saying, for me, I'm not trying to be Superwoman. I'm not trying to be that woman that's trying to do this and that and here, because you're going to spread yourself too thin. But in anything that you choose to do, there are consequences to that. So even though, you know, you're able to go to work, be full-time at work, and come home and take care of your child and your husband, something is going to give. Something is going to be a consequence to that. You may not see it now, but later on you'll see it. And for me, I didn't feel like, if I'm going to have a child and put it in daycare, what is the whole point of me having a child if I'm just going to hand my child off to someone else to take care of and get to have those precious moments? Because Zen is only 6 months old, and he's already growing, and I'm already like, oh my gosh, where's the time going? So I can't imagine a lot of mothers that have to give their child to someone to watch while they go to work. Now, some women don't have a choice. You see what I'm saying? And that's not the women I'm talking about. And I hate that a lot of women out there don't have a choice. But then most women do have a choice. But unfortunately, the way the system is in America, it has set it up to where both of the people feel like they have to go to work in order to make a living, to have to take care of the mortgage, to take care of the 2 car payments, to eat, to go on vacations, to buy clothes, and do all this and that. Like, you got caught up into this American dream that you have to go leave your child to someone else just so you can feel like you can survive, instead of you just living for what you need so you can be who you really are and actually be the purpose of a woman that you really are, is to be a mother and wife. You don't have a choice in America. And I'm only speaking of America because that's where I'm from, but you don't have a choice because you gotta go and help pay the bills. But for those that do have a choice and are wanting to stay home, don't put us down and be like, what we're doing is not purposeful, because being a mother is very purposeful. Being a mother is probably one of the hardest jobs that I've ever had, because someone is relying on me all day, every day, and it doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter if I didn't get any sleep or not. And then that person can't even talk to you because they talking baby talk. You know what I mean? So you gotta try to figure out what this person needs from you, no matter what you're going through. And then on top of that, being a wife, there's certain needs that you have to give to your husband, and then he's depending on you as well, because especially if you have a good husband that he's willing to provide and do what he needs to do, then you got to be a good wife and a good mother. It's like a team effort. Like right now, Rambo is tending to the baby just so I could do this live. Like it took me all day just to get on camera, so until the baby got where he needed to be in order for me to be able to do this, And so, but unfortunately, the reason why I feel like I get attacked by a lot of women, especially a lot of women tell me I need to go to work, is because I have to understand this, is that a lot of people come from broken homes. Okay. A true family structure looks like. So when you see somebody doing something different than what you're doing, instead of you trying to understand it, you want to back or knock it, something that you had, or it's not something that you're not able to give. And it's unfortunate doing different, instead of you know growing up, is that I never really got supported by the black community. If anything, those were the people, those black women, because a lot of you follow me and support me. But it's really a big epidemic, and I know a lot of the black women can support me in saying this, that we don't encourage each other, we don't support each other, as much as we should. And when you see another woman doing something positive, you should encourage her. You should be, yeah, good for you. Because when you see her doing it, you're doing it. And if you see something, a change being done, that means something positive is happening in the world. But we don't do that. It's like that saying, the crabs in the barrel, the crabs in the bucket. When you see one crab going up, you pull it down. And me and my husband, we get attacked all the time, saying about how we need to get jobs and he needs to get a job. We need to do this and we need to do that. And we are making a living, and no, we're not living off of donations. There's no way that we could have done what we did just merely on donations. We're providing services and things. But we understand that until the reason why people keep attacking us that way is because you're in that position, and there's other ways that you can provide for yourself and your family besides a job. You can do something creative. You can create a business, whatever it is that you like to do and who you are that expresses yourself. There's a way that you can provide for yourself instead of giving your energy to the jobs and things. But if that's something you choose to do, that's your choice. But don't knock other people because that's not something that they choose to do. You see what I'm saying? And especially the way that Rambo and I choose to live, this is what we want to do. We want to, provide y'all services of things that resonate with who we are. That's why I come on camera and talk and teach, because a lot of people resonate with the words that I have to say. And in Rambo, he provides the graphic designs and anything technological. But then a lot of people is like, well, you need to get jobs. Well, why do we need to get jobs? Why? I can understand why y'all would say Rambo should get a job, because as the man, y'all think only way that he can provide is through a job. But as a woman, why do you think that I should get a job when I have a child? Then who's going to take care of my child? And then if something happens to my child, then I'm responsible. I'm responsible because I'm the mother. And I should be responsible because I am the mother. You see, and that's what the mothers do. The mothers take care. But unfortunately, the way society has been structured, unfortunately, because of the programming that we see on television and that we've been fed into schools, we have lost sight on what our true purpose is as a woman and as our true purpose as a man. The men are the providers. They're the ones that go out and take care of their families and protect their families, and the woman is there to nurture the family and love the family and nourish the family. That's the family structure that I grew up in, and that's the family structure that I believe in. And yeah, it might be old fashioned today, but that's something that I'm going to stick with because it's something that truly affected me. And I know that it has cultivated me to be the type of person that I am today. And that's something that I want to give Zen. I want Zen to always know and say that my mother and father was always there. They looked out for me. They allowed me to be, who I am, and they were a big part of my development as a child. You see, so yeah, I just wanted to come on here and talk about that. Let me see what y'all are saying. Looks like y'all are talking about other stuff. Oh, yes, Nazia Carter. Okay, Nazia Carter, she reminded me of something. She said, that's what I believe in, but all the men I meet feel like they need to work. Absolutely. That is the main thing that men were saying to me back in the day when any guy that I would meet and I was considering on dating and being within that way, I would tell them up front, like, when we're just talking, getting to know each other, I was just like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. When I get married, I want to be a stay-at-home mom and take care of the kids. And they'll be like, no, you're not. You're going to be, if I have to work, you got to work. And the reason why men do that, and they say that, is because they're lazy. Okay? And whenever you meet a man that does not support you in being a mother, run away from him as far as you can, because what he's telling you, he's not willing to do what he needs to do, what he can for his family, because you are a woman that is sacrificing yourself for your family. And so if a man can't see that, if he be like, no, you gotta work, we equal, we are not equal. A man and woman is not equal. Now, we're equal in value, but we're not equal in how we are structured. We are totally different in the way we are structured. Yeah, I have breasts, the man doesn't. Okay, the man has muscles. I don't have muscles. I mean, I have little muscles, but naturally a man has muscles, so he is here for the strength and protection. And so I do not believe that we are equal, in function, maybe in value, but most definitely not in function. And so every time I would meet a man and he would say that, I would walk away from him. I was just like, you know what? Because if you already being that way now, don't tell me what you're gonna be like when we get married, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna still expect me to come home and still cook and take care of the kids when you and I both have to go out here working, 8 hours a day or then some. You know what I'm saying? And so when you hear a guy like that, he's letting you know right then and there that he's lazy and he is not built on the same principles as you, and you need to just walk away from that guy altogether. Now, he need to find him a woman that believes in what he believes in. Okay, so let me see. Oh, Lisa says, it's very hard as a young woman. I understand what you were going through for everyone to say get a job, especially as a young woman. I'm striving to just stay focused. What comes comes. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Lisa. She said, but I believe my work is to take care of my family, myself, and my partner, and in my health. Exactly, exactly. That as a role as a woman, that is what you are here to do. Now, again, if you choose to go out there and work and do your 8 to 10 hours a day, come home, take care of your kids, cook the dinner, clean the house, do whatever, that's on you. If your spouse wants to do that, y'all, I hope they have the shared responsibilities. That's on you. But while you're gone, who's taking care of the house? Who's taking care of the house while you're out there going working and stuff? I'm telling you, it takes a toll. And as a man just want to come home. He wants to relax. He don't want to come home and then have to do other shit too. He wants to come home and know that everything's taken care of, that the food is cooked, there's food in the refrigerator, the house is clean, the children are tended to. That's what a man looks forward to. The last thing a man wants to do is come home and have to help you, with the house chores because you out there working too. You know, but I'm not saying that it can't be done. I'm not saying that it's not being done, but in actuality, it just doesn't have to be that way. You know, you are a woman. You take care of you. If a man provided you a house, you make it a home. That's exactly how it should be, and that's how it is in my reality. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because anybody that comes from me and tell me what I need to do, you need to know what I stand for. I don't stand for this whole modern day woman. I never have. I did what I was supposed to do. I gave my almost 20 years to the system, and now I have the ability to have a child and take care of it and have a husband and and do that, and then also take care of my husband and help him build his business and help him in whatever way that I can do. And I'm so thankful because I always wanted to do this. Was something that I always wanted to do, and I finally get to do it. Rambo, where you at? You want to come on camera? I saw these mosquitoes. Here comes Rambo and the baby. Hmm.
Here's what they want to say.
He just is smiling. He just is smiling. Say, hey, what you doing? What you doing? What you doing? What you over there doing? He just is smiling. Yeah, I wanted to know. Rambo wanted to get his insights before I shut off the video. Say, hey, everybody.
Hey, peace. I agree to everything.
Okay, all right. Thanks for that.
That's conversation.
Just looking at you. His little fingers not being cute. Being cute. Yeah.
I agree. That is important. People don't really talk about that, or they don't really think about what that does to put like a child in daycare, or to give them off to somebody to take care of, even if it's just for a couple hours a day. That's a lot of programming for a child, that they're gonna undertake, and that's gonna program them in a way that might not be favorable to what you're trying to do with them, or not. It's because everything in their life is gonna influence them. So you got to be super cautious, even if it's just a couple hours a day. Like I said, it's still gonna influence them. And so that is important to me. I feel like a child should always be with his mother, at least a vast majority of the time, and then with the father or someone close around that's always around. But I feel like that's how it's set up to be. Because the baby right now, all he needs is you. Like you're his world right now. He relies on you for his food, his nourishment, his care, all of that, and me too secondarily, but mostly you,
Yeah.
When he's crying, he's hungry, like, I can't do much, I can only do but so much until I gotta hand him off to you.
Yeah.
But I think, that part is really overlooked as far as motherhood and the long-term effect that has on the child, because, and I've been stumbling across a lot of research lately just about rearing children and the upbringing of children, and how the small things, what we perceive to be small things in their early developmental stages, actually become big things in their reality. Like a lot of the issues that people have and are dealing with to this day is because they didn't have the love and the care that they should have had when they were children, when they were babies, because they were, in situations that wasn't allowing for that. So knowing that, like, I just want to give him the best environment and the best care and the best love so that he can thrive, in whatever he becomes and however he chooses to unravel himself in this reality, But if we can give him a great foundation, I feel like that's the job that as parents that we should do, is to give.
How was your upbringing when you was a kid? Where was your mom at?
I mean, she was always home. My mom was home. I mean, I think later in life she tried to get a job once we were grown, but for all of our childhood she was there all the time.
Really, she was a stay-at-home mom.
Oh yeah, and that's kind of a typical thing in like Hispanic households.
Yeah.
It's just the mom's just gonna take care of the child. We recognize that as a job within itself, as a role.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that because in the black community, the black women, we're taught to be independent. We're taught to go get jobs and not depend on anyone. And even when we do have children, we're taught to do everything. We're not like in the black, a lot of times in the black communities, we're not taught, the women are not taught to be mothers and wives like, back in the day.
Yeah.
And so even like today in your culture, you do see a lot of the women stay at home with having all them kids and not working. But
Hmm.
unfortunately, in my culture, it's not the same.
But I think it's, even in in the Hispanic or whatever you want to call it cultures,
Hmm.
even that is dwindling down a lot
Really.
because of modern day. Like there's a lot of talk, like a lot of the women don't even know how to cook anymore, like how they used to back in the
Uh
days.
huh.
And like traditionally, like a woman would be taught how to cook by the mother and be prepared into this role, this position of being a mother and
Hmm.
taking care of the home. But now that the modern day times, like that's kind of being taken away, in a
Yeah.
sense. I feel like everybody's just becoming individuals. And even I was looking, somebody was talking about marriages and how three-fourths of marriages end in divorce. And I was just thinking like, and he was like doing a comedy sketch basically
Hmm.
saying, why do people even get married? Like the statistics are so high on divorce, like what's even the point of getting married?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the theme that America and modern culture is headed towards, like where everybody's just independent and everybody's just kind of being with each other, but they're not really committing to a partnership where they raise children in the most healthy way possible, And I do think absolutely it takes, at least, two parents to raise a child, but if not more people in the environment to input little help and wisdom into that child as well, like grandparents or other, you know, parts of the family. But absolutely, at the very minimum, it would be, two parents that would have to be in that child's life to be of a healthy benefit to him.
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
So it's just interesting because I feel like it's kind of a phenomenon in all cultures, just modern day, and the way it's evolving is taking away a lot of the traditional ways. Now, with African American people or Black people, like I can't say it's a different dynamic, because
Hmm.
the culture has been influenced in different ways, and we come from a whole different culture,
Yeah.
separate of America, coming into America now and integrating and being influenced by that, but still a culture that was very heavily based on,
Scoot over.
a mother
Okay.
raising the children.
Someone said that. Oops. Can you? Because my finger's gonna be in the screen. Someone said that they're stay-at-home dad. I just saw somebody say that. I know it was let me down. True black power said I'm a stay at home dad. And even that is a stigma. When people hear that, be like, ooh, why? But that's starting to grow a lot too,
Yeah.
as long because it doesn't sometimes it doesn't matter. Well, no, I can't say it doesn't matter because just like Rambo said, right now as a baby, the baby needs the mother, but as he gets a little older, then Rambo be able to do more for the child. And so I can see even dad staying home and the mother going out
He
working.
said, "I have 5 kids. It's too hard. I want to go back to work."
Oh, okay. Okay.
He said, "Oh, shit, I want to go back to
Yeah,
work
well,
with
yeah,
5 kids."
yeah. I can only imagine. But I mean, but some men they like to be stay-at-home dads. Like some men, they're like, yeah, heck yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all circumstantial and it's all,
Yeah,
in context. Like certain situations, like you might just have to do that for a
yeah.
while until you get yourself in a better place. But what I'm talking about is physiologically how we're designed to be raised. What's the best and healthiest situation for us,
Mhm.
and I think that's with the mother being around and nursing and caring for the child, you know, in his early developmental stages, and the dad as well.
Mhm.
And I don't know. A lot of the reasons, you said you made this live because, people were telling you to get a job and stuff, but there's a lot of factors that play into that. Like people are so
Mhm.
tormented by their situations that all they could do is try to drag other people down to where they're at so that they could feel more comfortable in the position that they're in.
Yeah.
You know, because if we fail at what we're doing, which is trying to be independent, which is being independent actually, and coming out into a tropical environment, a beautiful environment to raise our child, and to not have to have a traditional job, then if we fail at that, then that in their mind proves to them that they are right by staying at their 9 to 5 job and never pursuing the dreams that they know that they want to pursue. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and so that's the narrative in their mind,
Yeah.
and that's the psychology behind why they do what they do. And that's why it's just the devil. Every time somebody comes and tries to tell us to get a job, like, even though we have things going for ourselves, because they're not traditional and they're not the same as those people are experiencing and going through, they're going to try to project what they're doing as to be the righteous thing that we should be doing.
Somebody said, that's funny you said it, because somebody said, you know, they want you to be a slave because they're a slave. It's like they're telling her to be a slave, be a slave, be a slave.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
Yeah.
kind of it's sad, but I understand the psychology behind it. You know, I get it. You know, is but I see beyond it. You know, and I know not to let that affect me, and to know that we're on a good path, because, you know, like I could go and be have a 9 to 5 worker for some company and be employed, but in my opinion is more lucrative, more independent, and just better for me in general to start my own business or have my own, you know, things that I'm doing, you
Hmm.
know, and generating income in that way, because I want the freedom to be able to navigate. I don't want to be under somebody, you know, and that's what I'm choosing to do.
Yeah.
But if the moment that, you know, I had to do that, I would get a job, but that's not my first go to, because I believe that's a lower frame of thinking. If you think you have to get a job to be financially successful, we live in a world where that's not the case. If you have any type of, you know, motivation, self motivation, you can just go online and figure out ways to make money.
Yeah.
You know, it's everywhere. You know, so I think a lot of people just you know, they result to getting a job because they don't want to figure it out for themselves. You know.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of times people are like, you know, you asking for donations, stop asking for donations, and, you know, get a job. But I don't think people understand or even heard of what the word is called, crowdfunding. Now, I'm not saying that Rambo and I are living off of donations, because we're not, but especially in the black communities and in communities of color, because, you know, Rambo is color, but it's not like, I don't know what to say, but I'm just saying in communities of colors, okay, that anytime they do something different or we do something different, it is not supported, it is discouraged. But if you see the white person doing it, for some reason it's okay, because a lot of the companies that you see today all started from crowdfunding. They asked the crowd to help support what they were doing in whatever way. It wasn't always, oh, you better get a job to support yourself. It sometimes people reached out, you know, for the crowdfunding. The crowd helped and funded that project or whatever. But anytime you see a black person or a person of color doing something different, it's always shunned upon. That's why a lot of people be like, I don't support black businesses. You know, like, why don't you support black businesses? You know, because there's a lot of white businesses out there that aren't that good, and you know, treat their customers right, and are always, good companies. But it's for some reason, anytime black people do anything different, people are going to try to find something wrong with it,
Mm.
so that's why I wanted to be like, you shouldn't always look at donations as a bad thing. It's called crowdfunding, to where you are supporting someone's vision, and because you'll be a part of it,
Investing
and you're
in
investing
the
in that
person.
person's vision.
Yeah.
You're putting that energy out,
Mm.
instead of thinking you got to go to the bank to get a loan, or
But
just whatever.
and it's just it's like a phenomenon that's been happening for a long time, because when people settled and colonized
Hmm.
America, you know what they called the takeover of the U.S. You know, Native Americans, they called it manifest destiny. They wrapped it up and they packaged it in a way to sell it to people, to be like, oh, we got to take over the United States from the east all the way to the Pacific Ocean to the west coast, and they wrapped it up in a magical way, and they sold it to people. But if somebody else, like would try to do that, they would be like, nah, that's wrong. But
Yeah.
you know, for some reason, when less melanated people do stuff, it's perceived, in a better light, than if somebody of color was to do it, and that is a phenomenon that happens, and but we're not victim to it, because we're still gonna do what we gotta do, support it whether you want to or not, but we're still gonna push through and find a way to manifest what we're doing, so it doesn't matter if we receive the support from anybody, we're gonna find a way to make it happen. Somebody's gonna support it. We'll support it until it gains enough momentum, to actually come into fruition. So, but that is a true statement, and it's unfortunate because we could do a lot more if we just supported each other, if we just invested in each other's visions and chose to. But I will say, sometimes also we gotta put in the work and we gotta do things right to want to make people invest in it.
Exactly.
If you don't put in the work, if you're doing it sloppy, nobody's gonna want to invest in it. And that's one thing that I will say that certain like white people and companies do is that they got the whole system mastered. Like they do things right, and they figure it out. The paperwork from the design process to the manufacturing process to get it all out there and creating apps and web pages. Like they spend a lot of energy figuring it out, and if you want to get money in that same way, you're going to have to use the same tactics, and you're going to have to use the same mindset and put in as much work as they do.
Well, the thing is, they don't put in the work. They hire people to put in the work for
but they
them.
orchestrate it. They orchestrate it well, is what I'm saying. They supervise a well done job,
But I'm glad you brought up a good point, because the people that put in that energy into someone else's company could be putting that energy within themselves. And even if you don't have an idea of what that is for you, that's when you take the time to discover what is it that you're here to bring. I'm always going to talk about that. Like, what are you here to bring the world? Because everyone has something, but because the way the system's set up, everybody's distracted now. They're distracted from the television, distracted from their jobs, distracted from their relationships, just distracted altogether. And they don't take the time to really love themselves and know what that truly means to love themselves, and really, figure out, what am I here to do? Like, what is my purpose, And so that's the reason why I continue to come on camera, to show women that look like me, like, look, it can be done. Look at me. I'm in the tropics. I'm living. I have a child. I have a husband. I'm doing what I love to do, and you can do it too. That's the reason why I continue to come on camera, because I can get off with camera and just live my life, but I want to share living my life, with everyone else, so that that it could be done. I do get a lot of encouraging comments from a lot of women to be like, thank you, I'm so glad that you're here, doing what you're doing, because I know if you can do it, I can do it. And even with you, Rambo, like, you encourage and inspire a lot of people too, and that's what it's all about, inspiring. What did they say?
They're just being facetious.
Oh.
Somebody else said.
What they say about Mexican women?
No, because somebody said that black women are the most powerful, and somebody said the Mexican. And I just think that anybody who discovers their power is the most powerful. Yeah. Because it don't matter how much power you got unless you discover and apply it. Like, it's useless. And then until you discover it, it will be used against you from the people who know how much power. And that's why people supposedly in power, manipulate the people, because we're the actual power, but we don't know we're the actual power. Yeah. So because we don't know that we're actual power, they take advantage of that, and they use our power for their own interest. So until you realize that you are the power, none of that power that you have within yourself is going to matter until you come to the realization that's power is within you. You know? So,
absolutely. So y'all have any questions before we go? Because I got to start our meal. Texas in the house. Hey, Rican Queen. Can you scroll up? Because somebody asked us, are we having any more children? No time soon. We're going to enjoy this one. It says any more babies coming.
Mm. Someone said I made carbonation with my graphic design. Well, I definitely think I enhanced it, and but that's my goal anywhere I go is to
Mhm.
enhance any situation I'm put in to be of value.
That is true, Rambo. You are of value to everyone.
Mm, yeah, I think they're just mostly having a conversation on there.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. I'm thankful, Mr. Murray's the waiver. Yep. So we're going to go. I might go live on Instagram and uh, make my soup. I don't know. We'll see if the baby let me do it. Cause right now he's being calm. Say hey, people. Say hey. We're thankful. All right. If y'all don't have no questions, we don't go.
But this was a good conversation.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like it's very important just to let people know, there's more than one way to to provide, to get money,
Yeah.
to live, to make a living, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
And especially in this modern time, I feel like there's a lot of opportunities. Even like what we're doing, I didn't even really know about work trade until I came to Hawaii,
Yeah.
and that's actual thing out here. And you start your own business. You can do so much. Like you just go on the internet. The internet is a wealth of information, and if you're not exploring other options, you're keeping yourself a slave in this modern time.
Yeah.
So just you have the key to unlock and free your own self.
Yeah. And I want to end it with the women that are mothers that are at home and you're not working a job. Like what you are doing is so much more beneficial and powerful than any job that you can go to. If you're home taking care of your children and taking care of your husband, that is one of the greatest jobs. That's one of the most important jobs a woman could possibly do. And especially when your children grow up into society and give back, and then your husband is a happy man, then you know you've done your job very well. And don't let no one put you down or mom shame you because you choose not to go out into the world. You choose to stay at home and take care of your family. And it's okay. That is your job, you know. That's what as women we are here for. And I tell all the young women that want to keep, with that momentum of being a stay-at-home mom, don't go for those men to tell you need to go out and get a job and you need to work too. That man is not for you. Okay, get a
That's
real man.
that's important though, because I want to say one last thing.
Okay.
Um, like the children are the next generation, and you were said earlier about you might not see the effects of you not being there
Yeah.
early on, but there will definitely be some effects, and that's true because you want sometimes we want to provide everything in the moment,
Yeah.
but it's a lot more important that you spend time with them in their early stages for their development in the future and who they will become than for what you can give them materialistically in the present moment.
Mhm.
So you gotta just know that.
Yeah.
You gotta know that it's more important for you to give them the nurture and the care and the attention in the when they're children, they're infants, and they're coming in that developmental stages is gonna be better for them in the long run. So that's the takeaway that I want to say, because a lot of people are very they're hurt, or they're not balanced, and they're just emotionally a wreck because of things that happen early in their childhood. So if we
Yeah.
can, the way we can correct that is by giving them the best childhood, and giving them the most attention and the most care that we can early in life, so that they could develop into healthy adults.
Mhm.
So that's a good way to end it.
Somebody. Something.
Yeah, I mean, we had already kind of addressed
Yeah. Oh, okay. Alright.
that. So I cannot move to Hawaii. There's no Mexicans yet. Oh,
Maybe
Mexicanos. There's a
maybe
couple.
yeah, there's a couple.
All
Alright, y'all. Y'all
With
ain't
that
talking
being
about-
said, y'all ain't talking about nothing. All right. Well,
I'm looking at the baby. And the baby
All right.
looking at the camera. You
Well,
want to say something before we go? You want to look at the people and give your cuteness? Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Say bye. And that's the end. You can hit
Alright.
the end button. Hey,
Peace, y'all.
Tracy.
Stay balanced.